Welcome to Orphaned Entertainment, the podcast dedicated to public domain and abandoned media. I'm your host, Christopher, and with me is a woman that tried to remove some tusks, but they were embedded so firmly she couldn't budge them. Of course, in Alabama, Tuscaloosa, but that is entirely irrelevant to what I'm talking about. It's Lydia.
Hey, Christopher. I recognize that.
Well, anyone who watches the film will recognize that.
Yes.
And if you've watched the film and then found the podcast, I want to thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Orphaned Entertainment is available wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have the option, please consider leaving a rating or a review. It really does help more people discover the show. We have a YouTube channel where you can watch many of the movies we've discussed on this podcast. Just go to youtube.com/@Orphaned Entertainment. If you'd like to reach out to us, we'd love to hear from you. You can send comments, suggestions, or even a recorded message to orphanedentertainment@gmail.com. You will find an easy link in the show notes that will get you to all of that. Or you can just go and to our website and find the links there too. Just go to orphanedentertainment.com. Before we take a break, I do have some comments from listeners. One was on Spotify. I forgot or did not know that you could leave comments on the program on Spotify.
Oh.
And I've not been checking it.
Oh.
So
sorry, guys.
I do apologize because this was left over 2 months ago.
Oh.
And it was just fun. It was left on our Lonely Wives episode.
Ah.
A user called URX suggests that we could maybe have another revenue stream by releasing Lydia's laugh as a ringtone.
Oh, no. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Is it?
I think so. And they also mentioned that their favorite typewriter is the L7A2 general purpose belt-fed typewriter.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I learned to type on a typewriter, even though I'm not that old. I learned to type on an electric typewriter while all my peers were learning to type on. It's a long story involving a bike accident and both my arms being in casts when I was 12. True story, but I'm glad to know there's another typewriter aficionado out there.
Perhaps a story for another time. Yeah, I learned on typewriter. When I first started typing, I was on electric typewriters as well. I did not jump directly into the
PC world.
The word processors.
Yeah.
We've got a comment from a listener, Mark Catterberg, who usually posts this over on the Mastodon app. I believe he's also on Blue Sky. Again, follow the link to find us there. But he watched Street Girl, which we talked about last month. And this comment was before he actually listened to our episode. He says, if you can get past the two insufferable leads and the tough sound quality, the side characters and comedy scenes are well worth it. Tough to see through the annoying male lead in particular, though, and he will always have love for Ned Sparks in any movie. So I thanked him for leaving that, and I was told him I look forward to seeing what he thinks after he listens to the episode.
Yeah.
Which he did.
Absolutely.
And he says he loved the episode. I largely agree that Mike sucks, but mostly because he's annoying. I took him as controlling, but not really malicious, just immature. So he kind of sides with you a little bit on that.
Yeah. I think it depends on your maybe a little bit your personal history, how you feel about him.
Exactly. He reminds us that Ned Sparks was also in Kept Husbands, which we also recently covered. I don't remember him, but I will defer to him on that. He thanks us for the great commentary, and he likes the movie more after hearing us talk about it.
Yay. We usually feel that way too. After getting to talk to each other about it, we usually like the movie more.
Yeah, often. He's also pumped for Animal Crackers, and that's a big one from his childhood. And I posted and mentioned that as of January 1st, there is a bunch of films coming into public domain. All the films from 1930 are now public domain, and he's looking forward to like All Quiet on the Western Front and Hell's Angels. He feels those will be some cool ones for us to look into. So yeah, absolutely. So I didn't mention at the top of the show, so kind of belated happy public domain day for everybody. This episode is going to be dropping towards the end of January, and as of January 1st, all films from 1930 are free to the world. And we are entering such a fun era of Hollywood right now.
Yes, I am super excited. It's fascinating to see the variety of what is coming out in 1930. We're going to have so much fun. We always have so much fun, but man, new films, yay! Being in the genre we've been in for, 12, 13 years now, and finally getting some like full-length feature films that people are gonna, know a little bit more and be pretty enthusiastic about. It's so much fun. Looking forward to getting to talk about these.
Absolutely. And that actually sort of segues into something else I wanted to mention before we go any further. While doing some last-minute Googling and research on Street Girl last month, I discovered that there is a film festival practically in my own backyard that I didn't know about. The Columbus Moving Picture Show and Film Festival, held in Columbus, Ohio. It takes place every Memorial Day weekend, and this past year, they screened Street Girl as well. This show also hosts a monthly podcast. I think it's just called the Columbus Moving Picture Show Podcast. I'll put a link to this website in the show notes so you can check out the event and find the podcast there. And if you're in the tri-state area and you enjoy old movies, and if you're listening to this, it's likely that you do. I do plan on attending at least for 2 or 3 days this year. I'm looking forward to meeting the organizers and all the fans of this show, and I'd love to meet any listeners we might have in the area as well. With that, let's listen to an Ellery Queen 1-minute mystery and a promo for another podcast, and when we return, we will be going. But not before we talk about 1930s animal crackers.
Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries. This is Ellery Queen with a case I call The Deserted Island. While vacationing on the Gulf of Mexico, I tagged along with the local police as they chased a jewel thief who'd escaped by private plane. He was spotted on a deserted island just off the coast of Honduras. The police and I went ashore and arrested him. He smiled. "You can't arrest me. This is a deserted island off Honduras. You'd need extradition papers to take me." "That's perfectly true," I replied, "if this deserted island were foreign soil. My friend, you're under arrest. In a moment, I'll explain how we took the man in."
Life gets busy, and there's always new movies in theaters or shows on one streaming service or another.
Too many, some would say.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to see everything when it first comes out.
So we all become time shifters.
On the Time Shifters podcast, we discuss and review films and television from past and present.
And sometimes from the future.
We also share some discussions with filmmakers and actors, talk about genre news, and share some occasional convention coverage.
So tune in to the Time Shifters podcast.
Available wherever podcasts can be found or by visiting timeshifterspodcast.com.
In the case of the deserted island, the thief didn't realize the island so close to Honduras was an American possession. Little Swan Island, so small it hardly appears on the maps, but it's there, and it's American soil. Listen again to Ellery Queen's Minute Mysteries.
All right, Animal Crackers from 1930 stars Groucho, Harpo, Chico, and Zeppo Marx. And also appearing as Margaret Dumont in her second picture with the brothers, and she will appear in 5 more films alongside them. In the film, famed explorer Captain Jeffrey T. Spaulding, played by Groucho, is being hosted by socialite Mrs. Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse organizes an unveiling of a painting recently acquired by friend and art patron Roscoe Chandler called After the Hunt by Beauregard. Also planned for entertainment is the musician Signor Emanuele Ravelli, played by Chico, and his silent partner known as the Professor, which is, of course, Harpo. Rittenhouse's daughter Arabella is determined to advance her boyfriend's artistic career by any means necessary and convinces him to replace the famous painting with a copy he created years ago. They hope that people will recognize him for the great artist that she feels he is and jumpstart his career. Unknown to them, 2 other guests have a similar plan to switch the painting, but in their case, it's to embarrass Rittenhouse by using a poor imitation. Well, everyone's plans collide in a confusing farce when the painting, well, one of them anyway, goes missing altogether. Now, after the success of the film The Coconuts, which we covered a year ago, Paramount signed the Marx Brothers for a follow-up, and like the previous film, it would be a film adaptation of the brothers' popular stage production of the same name. Paramount hired director Victor Herman due to his reputation as being able to maintain discipline on set. The Marx Brothers, as well as Lillian Roth, had reputations for unprofessional behavior. Most of the cast of the stage play reprised their roles from the production. Lillian Roth remembered the filming as being one step removed from a circus, with the Marx Brothers regularly arriving late, taking long lunches, and leaving early. And speaking of Lillian Roth, so you know who I'm talking about here. Of course, she plays our young starlet, she plays the young Arabella in the film. She was a vaudeville and Broadway performer before signing on to Paramount Pictures, where she appeared in films like The Love Parade in 1929 and Cecil B. DeMille's Madam Satan. After Paramount, she appeared in a supporting role of Warner Brothers' 1933 film Ladies They Talk About, starring Barbara Stanwyck. She returned to the stage in the early 1930s, but by this time her life began taking turns not for the better. She struggled with alcoholism, and she would write an autobiography and speak in interviews that she became too reliant on other people and too trusting in her husbands as far as making decisions and working out contracts as well as dealing with her money. She appeared in an episode of This Is Your Life in 1953 where she told of her struggle with alcoholism, and fans responded to that and sent over 40,000 letters of support to her. In 1962, Roth appeared in a Broadway production of I Can Get It For Your Wholesale, a play that Barbra Streisand made her Broadway debut in. And producer David Merrick decided that it was Roth's name that was really selling the tickets and actually put her as the top billed star after the show opened, over stars Streisand and Elliott Gould. Roth's autobiography, I'll Cry Tomorrow, was published in 1954 and was adapted into a film of the same name in 1955 with Susan Hayward starring. Hayward would actually receive an Academy Award nomination for the role. The book itself became a bestseller, and the film renewed interest in Roth. She recorded several songs for multiple labels and headlined a vaudeville revival at the Palace Theater on Broadway. She would appear in several venues in Las Vegas and in New York's Copacabana. Roth returned to Broadway in 1971 in the musical 70 Girls 70, as well as appear in the 1976 horror film Alice, Sweet Alice. Her last film was 1979's Boardwalk. And I talked, I think, quite at length of the Marx Brothers in Coconuts from a year ago, so I won't go into all of that again. And I couldn't really find a whole lot of information about most of our other stars, sadly, for this one.
Yeah, I think the only other one that really stood out to me was Robert Grieg, or Greg. I'm not sure how I'm saying his name, if I'm saying it right or not. He is the butler in one of my all-time favorite movies, The Lady Eve. He plays Burroughs. He's also in Sullivan's Travels, which anybody listening to this podcast is probably familiar with. Certainly anybody that did any film studies was probably forced to watch. And in the 45 version of A Picture of Dorian Gray. A whole bunch of other movies, too. He is definitely I guess we call him a character actor. He tends to play that kind of very proper butler sort of character. He's also in Algiers, which is worth mentioning for sure. But yeah, everybody else was didn't jump out at me much, but it's interesting that Lillian Roth described this set as being one step removed from a circus, because I feel like that comes across in the movie. And all joking aside, all animal puns and Africa jokes and everything else aside, it definitely has, it's a little scattered.
It's so strange. We watched The Coconuts, and I remember conveying some facts about it that the Marx Brothers felt like they really didn't know what they were doing, and they weren't happy with the production because they were really unfamiliar with the idea of filming and all that and everything. I feel like this film feels more amateurish, or feels like they're more uncomfortable than in The Coconuts.
I agree. It's interesting because this movie starts off, I think, a little bit different. So Coconuts started with a song and dance number, and Animal Crackers also starts kind of with a song and dance number. It definitely starts with a song number, but then like the first 15 minutes or so feels so much like an opera to me. It's like they're announcing this person is going to arrive. And in classical opera, you often will have the chorus come on and say, here's the setup for this opera. This is the thing. Here's the place. These are the people. They're arriving. And you have exactly that happening here in Animal Crackers.
Captain Spaulding has arrived.
I've seen him, Captain. Oh, I'm so glad. My friend, Captain Spaulding has arrived.
At last we are to meet him, the famous Captain Spaulding. From climate hot and scalding, the captain has arrived. Most heartily we greet him, with rain and healthy cheering. Until he's all appearing, the captain has arrived. And God's love
Mr. Horatio W. Jamison, Field Secretary to Captain Spaulding.
I represent the captain who insists on my informing you of these conditions under which he camps here. In one thing he is very strict. He wants his women young and fit, and as for men, he won't have any tramps here.
As for men, he won't have any tramps here. There must be no tramps.
The men must all be very old, the women warm, the champagne cold. It's under these conditions that he camps here.
I'm announcing Captain Jeffers calling. He's announcing Captain Jeffers calling. Oh, here, he is coming.
But it feels very operatic to begin, and I was a little confused at first, thinking, well, of course we know that the Marx Brothers have musical renditions and musical influence in their acts and in their performances, but it felt very structured and very, the only word I could think of was operatic. And then it becomes a Marx Brothers movie. So that was an interesting way to start it, feeling like, oh, this is going to be kind of more grand and kind of more, I'm struggling with my verbiage here, my language, but I just felt like it was going to be kind of a bigger production. And then it kind of wasn't. So it was an interesting setup.
Yeah, I read the director actually cut out a lot of the play's song and dance numbers, so they could shorten the runtime of the film,
okay,
and focus on their comedy routines.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like that's what I was missing in this film. That's one of the things I kind of liked about The Coconuts was why not have all the female bellhops do a kick line, you know?
Yeah. It felt kind of like there was, I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I think it really, really, really threw me off, and I'm going way out of sequence here, but I think that is maybe in keeping with the theme of this movie, going out of sequence. There's a point where Lillian Roth and her fiance / boyfriend sing a love song together, and kind of when that happened, I kind of was like, wait, did I switch movies? Like, I knew it was the same actors, but it was like, did I miss like something? Suddenly there's this like really nice, sweet, romantic song going on fairly late in the film. And there was nothing like that at all in the film leading up to it. There was, I hate to say this, there was no romance leading up to it. Like, you have these young kids that want to run away together kind of vibe, but you don't have the I'm passionately in love with you vibe. Like, there are even like gags and jokes tossed in early on when she says, well, maybe you should marry me. And he says, marry you with what? I sold 2 paintings last year and they made $100 and $50. Could we live on $150? And then he says, my cousin made $50,000 on Wall Street. And she says, but I don't want to marry your cousin. I want to marry you, but and it's really funny. But it doesn't lend to a deep romantic song near the end. So it was scattered is going to be the word I'm probably going to use the most while we're talking about this film, because I felt scattered watching it, and it definitely felt scattered to me.
Yeah, there really didn't feel like there was much of a focus, even though there was the idea of the paintings, and then the paintings go missing and you got to find the painting. So there was like some sort of underlying plot, but it still felt very scattershot. Mm-hmm. And then so when the Marx Brothers do their comedy routines, it doesn't really fit in a lot with that plot. So it feels a little aesthetic. Forced.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I didn't notice that, or didn't really feel that in the Coconuts. It seemed to like it made sense when you had like I don't want to sit there and just go back and review the Coconuts again, but like when you have Harpo Marx or Groucho Marx, and he's got the map of the future development, and he and Chico are playing all the word games. It all makes sense because it's all about this hotel and them wanting to build this resort and everything. And this one, I think they try to do the same thing, but there's really no reason for it.
They're almost rehashing the same jokes, but without the plot to go with it.
Yeah, a little bit. It felt that way.
Yeah, I think, and that was, to me, gosh, we're already at the end of the episode. We're not, but I did say we're going to skip around a bit. And there's so little plot to this movie. It's hard to talk about it because, like you said, there's kind of a, hide the ball kind of situation with the paintings. And there's no other plot to this movie. There's nothing else going on. There literally are 3 paintings, and you get that pretty early on that there are going to be 3 paintings. And then you have an hour and a half of, I guess, people moving the paintings around every once in a while, but it's mostly just, and I don't know how much of this was ad-libbed and how much of it was scripted, but I do know, I saw I read part of an article that said that Margaret Dumont, who played Mrs. Rittenhouse, there were comments about her not understanding any of the jokes, but there is some salvaged footage of her during this movie cracking up while Groucho is doing some of his ad-libbing. And that makes me think there probably was a significant amount of ad-libbing going on. Like, they have the song framework, and then, okay, so you guys do the song, and then when you stop here, I'm going to say something. Kind of like, I know that there are comedians that do this now, where comedians is maybe not even the right word, but they'll change their answer every time for every take and come up with something different until, they get something that's so hilarious that the directors decide to keep it, but they have 8, 10, 20 jokes to pick from. And it feels like that's what was going on with this, but maybe with fewer takes. I'm going to admit guys, the next thing that's going to come out of my mouth is going to be the most uncomfortable thing you're going to hear in this entire podcast episode. I'm not sure I laughed even once at this movie. In a viewing and a half, I kept waiting to laugh. And I don't think I did, which is really ironic with that comment early on in the episode. I was, and it was an interesting kind of third person perspective, me being aware that I wasn't laughing at this movie that I was supposed to find very funny. And I know people that do find it very funny and love this movie, and then just being kind of waiting for the punchline to hit, like, for the whole movie.
I don't think I really laughed. There was a couple chuckles, but a lot of those were at some of the more kind of inside jokes. Somewhere fairly early in the middle, Chico uncovers that Chandler was like a fish peddler that he knew in Czechoslovakia or something.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, wait. Hey, if you're not Abe Kavippa, who are you?
Now, please, Chandler is my name. Roscoe W. Chandler.
Yeah, but I don't care about the name. You see, someplace I met you before because your face is very familiar. Now, wait, let me see. Were you ever in Sing Sing?
Please.
No Sing. I got it. Juliet.
Oh, you let me alone.
No, all right. Don't run away. Don't run away. Leave it away.
Oh, now, listen here. I have never been in these places. I spend most of my time in Europe.
Europe. I got it now. I know. You come from Czechoslovakia.
You are wrong, I tell you. I've never been there.
Hey, Piper, come here. Hey.
I tell you the truth. Please, get away from me.
Hey, you remember him? Who was he? He come from Czechoslovakia.
You are wrong, I tell you. I told you before. You are mistaken.
He come from Czechoslovakia, and I know who it is. That's A.B. the fish peddler from Czechoslovakia.
Ridiculous, I tell you. You are wrong.
Ridiculous. Wait. We prove it. He had a birthmark, remember?
Oh, please, what are you trying? Let me alone. Please.
Look, on the arm, on the leg, on the foot, on here, on the mustache. Oh, there it is. There's the birthmark.
All right, now listen,
A.B. the fishman.
I confess, I was A.B. the peddler.
Well, how did you get to be Roscoe W. Chandler?
Say, how did you get to be an Italian?
Never mind. Whose confession is this?
Asked Chico, when did you become Italian?
Yes. Yeah, and that was funny. But it was one line in a movie.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't follow it up at all. I think they kept coming up with what I keep feeling like we're going too fast talking about this episode, but it is kind of a disjointed movie. But they kept coming out with things you thought were going to be a part of a plot. Like, oh, wait, the art dealer used to be a fishmonger. Okay, what's the implication to that? Oh, wait, Margaret Dumont has a lot of money and the art dealer is hitting on her. Okay, what's the implication to that? Oh, wait, okay, Groucho proposes to two women at the same time and suggests they both get married to him, despite some very strange fourth wall breaking that I'm not even really sure what was supposed to be going on at that point, because what he was saying, it was very weird. It was very, very, very weird. But then nothing ever happens with that either. Everything that I kept expecting to have some impact, I think on the plot, they were turned out to just be throwaway jokes. And I felt like if they had actually wrapped up any of that, like they even mentioned that Hives has done time in jail. They have the start of so many interesting things that could happen. Captain Spaulding, Groucho, introduces himself as Inspector Scott from something Yard or something like that. I forget what it is.
I may go to Mrs. Rittenhouse?
Yes?
I'm Inspector Hennessy from headquarters.
How do you do, Inspector?
Let me introduce myself. I'm Captain Scotland of Spaulding Yard. No, I'm Captain Spaulding of Scotland Yard. Please don't make the same mistake again.
I'm glad to know you, Captain.
Well, I should think you would be. Now then, Inspector, I think between the two of us we can solve the mystery of the stolen painting, especially if you go home.
Inspector, please don't be too hasty about making an arrest. I don't want my guests embarrassed.
Don't worry. We won't arrest anybody.
He's lucky if he can stay out of jail himself.
Mr. Jamison, would you mind taking the inspector and his men to the library and showing them the scene of the crime?
Certainly, Mrs. Rittenhouse. Right this way, Inspector.
Come on, boys.
And Jamison, count the spoons.
Captain, I didn't know you'd been a detective, too.
There's a whole lot of things you don't know.
I suppose that's so.
You know darn well it's so. Where were you in the night of June 5th, 1774?
I'm afraid I don't know.
You bet you don't know. Where was I?
I don't know.
Well, I don't know either, and if I did know, I wouldn't tell you. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Take a number from 1 to 10.
All right.
All right. What's the number?
7.
That's right. 7 is right. I could have done it with one hand if I wanted to. This is no mystery. I could solve this in 5 minutes if I wanted to worry.
Captain, I don't want you to worry. I don't want anything to interfere with your weekend.
Nothing ever interferes with my weekend, and I'll thank you not to get personal, Miss Rittenhouse.
Oh, Captain.
Where's my secretary,
Captain, I
Jamison?
assure you, I didn't mean to offend you.
Where's my
Oh,
secretary?
please, Captain, you misunderstood me.
A more dastardly crack I've never heard.
Oh, Captain, please.
I wish I was back in the jungle where men are monkeys.
Captain, I'm so sorry.
Jamison, no.
Oh, Captain.
No.
Oh, dear.
And then again, they just don't do anything with it. They could have found out that he wasn't from Scotland Yard. Like, there's thing after thing after thing that you're like, oh, okay, this is the build for a joke. This is gonna be really funny when it breaks. And then it never breaks. Nothing ever comes back to it. And it feels like you're being set up for joke after joke after joke with no punchline ever delivered for the entire movie. And even at the end of the movie, I still was left waiting for the punchline.
It was a little bit like going into a roundabout that had no other exits.
Yeah.
You're just driving around.
Yeah. Where all the exits are blocked off. And it's like, well, they planned a road there, but they never actually connected it.
You're right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that first film so much last year, and I was looking forward to this. And as you said, I feel like we're jumping to the end, but gosh, there's just not anything to really talk about in this film. And I think that kind of adds to my disappointment. It's just that I was disappointed that I didn't enjoy this more. I understand like the historical significance of this film, because it's not always the first film. You can have a great first film, but is that second film going to be a hit?
Yeah.
Are things going to work in that second film? Because that's going to depend on whether or not there's going to be a third or a fourth.
Yeah.
And so this second film was incredibly popular at the time. It did give an opportunity for all the Marx Brothers to kind of hone their characters on film. What they were on stage might be a little different than what they are in film. Mm-hmm. They gave them a chance to do it. They gave them a chance to kind of figure out what routines work on film versus on stage. So historically, and in the history of the Marx Brothers, I think this film is incredibly important. But I don't necessarily think it's all that good.
And I was thinking about, why did I like coconuts so much more than I liked animal crackers? And I remember us talking about how fast and intelligent the jokes in Coconuts came when Groucho was, I guess it must have been Margaret Dumont in that as well, but
yes,
he's like, it wasn't her though, it was an older lady, and he's sitting there just insulting her after insult after insult, and it was hilarious. And part of what was so funny about that, and this is probably something worth talking about, part of what was so funny in that scene in Coconuts was the lady's responses were hilarious, and she played it totally straight, but she responded. And in this one, Margaret Dumont is kind of that character that Groucho has the most interaction with. And she kind of pauses for his jokes, but doesn't really respond to them. Like, she'll kind of, brush them off. Like, oh, he's so funny and amusing. But she doesn't play it up. She doesn't get offended. She doesn't get shocked when he suggests marrying two women.
Would you wash out a pair of socks for me?
Captain, I'm surprised.
Well, it may be a surprise to you, but it's been on my mind for weeks. It's just my way of telling you that I love you, that's all. I love you.
Captain,
I'm
Mrs. Whitehead.
of you.
I beg your pardon.
There's never been...
I beg your pardon. Am I intruding?
Are you intruding? Just when I had her on the 5-yard line. I should say you are intruding. Pardon me. I was using the subjunctive instead of the past tense. Yes, we're away past tense. We're living in bungalows now. This is a mechanical age, of course.
Mrs. Whitehead, you haven't met Captain Spaulding, have you?
Why, no, I haven't. How are you?
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
And how are you? That leaves you one up. Did anyone ever tell you you had beautiful eyes?
No.
Well, you have. And so have you. He shot her a glance. As a smile played around his lips. Yes, I don't think I've ever seen 4 more beautiful eyes in my life. Well, 3 anyway. You know, you two girls have everything. You're tall and short and slim and stout and blonde and brunette. And that's just the kind of a girl I crave. We three would make an ideal couple. Why, you've got beauty, charm, money. You have got money, haven't you? Because if you haven't, we can quit right now.
The captain is charming, isn't he?
I'm fascinated.
I'm fascinated, too. Right on the arm. Fascinated. Whim wham. If I were Eugene O'Neill, I could tell you what I really think of you two. You know, you're very fortunate the Theater Guild isn't putting this on. And so is the Guild. Pardon me while I have a strange interlude.
Why, you couple of baboons? What makes you think I'd marry either one of you? Strange how the wind blows tonight. It has a thin, eerie voice that reminds me of poor old Marsden. How happy I could be with either of these two if both of them just went away.
Well, what do you say, girls? What do you say? Will you marry me?
But, Captain, which one of us?
Both of you. Let's all get married. This is my party. Party. Party.
Here I am talking of parties. I came down here for a party. What happens? Nothing. Not even ice cream. The gods look down and laugh. This would be a better world for children if the parents had to eat the spinach.
Well, what do you say, girls? What do you say? Are we all going to get married?
All of us?
All of us.
But that's bigamy.
Yes, and it's big of me, too. It's big of all of us. Let's be big for a change. I'm sick of these conventional marriages. One woman and one man was good enough for your grandmother, but who wants to marry your grandmother? Nobody. Not even your grandfather. Think of the honeymoon, strictly private. I wouldn't let another woman in on this. Well, maybe one or two, but no men. I may not go myself.
Are you suggesting companionate marriage?
Well, it's got its advantages. You could live with your folks, and I could live with your folks.
But neither of them reacts like, wait, what are you saying? Like, you're actually, like, they're not shocked enough to be taking him seriously, and they're not laughing it off enough to be taking it as a joke. They just kind of are like, oh, we're just here. And it's a direction thing, partly.
Yeah, it's like they were in another universe, or like everything Groucho was saying was just like inside his head, and they weren't actually hearing it.
Well, and there are parts where he literally says, excuse me, I'm going to have an odd turn or something like that. And then that's when he breaks the fourth wall, and they both freeze in the background like he's stepping out of that timeline, which I understood like what they were doing in that moment in the sense of film at that moment. That was a kind of amazing, because we still do that kind of thing, right? And some really, really good movies. The Voices comes to mind immediately. I don't know that the fourth wall is ever broken in that, but definitely that stepping out of the timeline to have a whole other thing happen does happen in that. And I think that cinematography wise, that was fascinating to have the characters in the background freeze and the foreground character continue with their line of thought, even though, in my opinion, his line of thought made zero sense whatsoever and seemed to be.
It made zero sense in the context of the rest of the film. Yeah,
it really didn't. It was like he was trying to say something funny, but it just wasn't landing. But that was an interesting way to do it. But then the actual responses themselves where they should have hit never did. And that was a consistent thing throughout the entire movie. At no point does Margaret Dumont's character really respond to Spaulding. I mean, from the minute he shows up, he's like, hi, thanks for inviting me, bye. And she's not like, whoa, wait, you just got here. None of the reactions that you expect to happen from anybody. It's almost like in this movie, Groucho is just floating around on his own and everybody else is doing things. It's almost like he's just completely detached from it. I'm just realizing this as I'm saying it.
Yeah, and I got that impression sometimes when he was doing his bits. He'd be sitting there and he's just kind of staring off, not at the camera, like staring past the camera. And I'm thinking, he looks bored. He doesn't look engaged in this at all.
I don't disagree with you. There were a number of moments in this movie where watching Groucho talk, and in Coconuts, I was riveted and amused and interested. In this movie, I literally had enough time to go, I think his mustache is just drawn on.
Yep.
More than once, I was like, that's just ink on his face, isn't it? And that's too bad, because that's a huge departure from my reaction to the first movie.
Yeah, if that's what you're focusing on instead of what he's actually saying, there's definitely a disconnect. There's something wrong there.
Exactly. Yeah, so this movie was half of a plot and half of a vaudeville act and half of a two-man stand-up routine. It was like nothing that was in it was actually fully developed.
And then at the end, everything concludes. Oh, and here's the paintings. We don't know where they came from,
Yeah.
or why Harpo had them, but the film's over.
I can totally go with Harpo just stuffing things in his pants. I'm okay with that. That works for me. But then you got the cops saying, I'll just let you go, and then having some bizarre, deep heart-to-heart while Harpo is in the middle of dropping the household silver. And again, you have the start of a joke and no punchline to it. It just consistently through this movie, over and over, anything to do with the Marx Brothers themselves is the beginning of a joke with no follow-through. Everybody else kind of had a bit of a movie. I still am unclear on Mrs. Rittenhouse's real point in the whole movie. Again, they kept opening things with her and then not concluding them. And, you've got your cute little romance arc, which, presumably everything works out great because of spoilers. But there's not... even if we have a couple of sisters that come onto the scene early on, and they are the perpetrators of one of the copies of this painting. And nothing really happens with them either. Like, you get the idea that Mrs. Whitehead and Mrs. Rittenhouse have, kind of bump heads, but you don't know why. Nothing ever comes of it. Groucho suggests that he marry both of them, but then aside is saying, I can't stand these women, make them go away, but then he's asking them to marry him. And it's just like, wait, why? It's almost like, we're back here again. It's almost like this movie would be really good if it just didn't have the Marx Brothers in it.
I'm beginning to wonder.
Dang it.
I will say, if I give it any real compliment, is that I could watch Chico Marx play the piano all day long.
Yeah.
The guy is amazing. I was blown away by it in the Coconuts, and that was probably when I had the biggest smile on my face in this film.
Yeah.
Is when he did his piano solo, and the camera very smartly just pretty much focuses on here's him and his hands, and this is how he plays the piano. And it's not just, and I know I mentioned this a year ago, it's not just a guy, it's just not fingers going across the key. He's playful at it.
Yeah.
But it never misses a beat. When he's going along the keys and he does kind of like the finger gun, bing, to get that last key, with his pin stuff. And it's so much fun. And I could just watch him all day. It's astonishing.
Yeah. And you reminded me that after the really sweet love song that we have from Arabello and John, I guess is her fiance's name. It's this really pretty song, and then it kind of fades off into this harp music, and then the camera pans over and Harpo is playing the harp, playing that music, and keeps playing. And these guys are incredible musicians. They're really such good musicians. And there is like humor in what they do and how they do it. And Harpo's jokes are the same jokes that we saw in Coconuts. There's almost nothing different at all. It's almost the exact same thing. And that's kind of part of his character. And the same with Chico. And they're great. They're fine. they don't lend anything to the plot. Like, there's nothing added to it. And when I said it'd be probably a better movie without the Marx Brothers, honestly, I think Chico and Harpo in it are probably fine. The rest is just confusing. And what's really funny is I'm trying to even place Zeppo. I don't even remember who he was.
He was Groucho's assistant.
Oh, okay.
The guy in the suit, very straight-laced, that fellow, yeah.
Yeah, the one that was taking the dictation.
Taking the dictation and, did the whole... I kind of got lost and you didn't really say anything important, so I left it out.
I feel like he really missed his calling as like a lawyer in real life. Like, you got these three really silly guys, and then this guy, they're like, well, we got to do something with him too. But
well, that's why Zeppo is not the Marx Brothers anybody thinks about. I think he appears in the first few films, and then I think he does fade away and just goes into business for himself.
Yeah, and he's very normal, which is not an insult in any way. Maybe as a Marx Brother, it feels like an insult to him, but it really isn't. He's just very normal. Everything about him is just very normal. So, I think it is. I just saw that Lillian Roth's younger sister, Anne Roth, was also in this, which is pretty interesting. She did not have a credit line in the titles, but
okay.
Reading a little bit about her history, I know that Lillian and Anne were both pushed really, really hard by their mother to be performers, like very incredibly uncomfortably, probably very problematically pushed too. But I do find it interesting. They did appear in a number of things together. I love that she just was in this too. That you're probably not gonna pick her out. I definitely wouldn't. But interesting little side note. So this movie is a very disjointed. The actual plot of it is so tiny that it really could have been. It probably could have been an Ellery Queen 1 minute mystery.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I was just disappointed. I was really sitting down expecting to have watched this really great hysterical Marx Brothers film, and I didn't really enjoy it. Should we just go ahead and do we want to talk about anything else, or should we just go ahead and jump to our ratings? Is there anything else to say?
No, I think the only other thing I would have to say is I fully expected to come into this and us have the conversation where you thought it was hilarious and I was just like, meh. And maybe you talk me around. Like, I thought maybe I just was in the wrong mood when I watched it, or maybe I missed some really key, hilarious parts. Maybe I just zoned out for a couple minutes at some point that tied it all together. But it doesn't sound like that's the case. So this is actually kind of surprising. This conversation didn't go the way I expected it to at all.
Now, I think I came in wondering if the same thing was going to happen or something similar. I think maybe she won't love it, but I wonder if she thought this was funnier than I did. No, I think we're coming in pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I'm only going to give it a 2.
Okay.
I like I said, I understand the historical importance of the film, especially for the Marx Brothers and for just comedy and musicals in general and everything. But hell, I mean, as much as I love the Coconuts, I just didn't. I didn't care for it. I can't see myself going back to this.
Yeah.
At any point, if I ever decide to go and do a Marx Brothers watch through or something of their films, I could skip this one without much problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're coming up on, we're recording this before the holidays. And so I fully expect to have some real, throwdowns about this rating. If any of my family listens to this episode, I know for a fact this is at least one person's one of their favorite movies while they were growing up. But I'm right there with you. I can't. it's not. I mean, it's not a. Is it a 1 for me? I don't think it's a 1, but like, but I mean, a movie to get a 1 Othel from us has to be like horrendously bad. We can find something positive to say about pretty much any film out there. There are so few films that you really can't find anything positive to say about them. I think 2 is generous. I think there are little bits and pieces here and there that are okay. I think I would love to see more Lillian Roth. Of course, Robert Gregg, I think, is in other movies just phenomenal. He's so great in some movies. Or at least he's so solid as a supporting actor in some movies. I think probably almost everybody in this movie probably has something better that you can watch with them in it. So I'm going with you on the 2 Othels. I don't think I'm trying to talk myself through like would I give it any other. I think, if you left it down to me, would I say this is the last movie you should ever watch? It's not the last one you should ever watch, but it's probably the last Marx Brothers movie you should ever watch. So
I hope that's not the case. I do want to watch the other films.
Yeah.
As much as they are applauded and held as in such high esteem by so many people, I have to think there's more to them, and maybe this is the aberration, and maybe this is the one that people say is fantastic when it's really not, but only because it's sandwiched between all the other good ones or something.
And maybe this is the only one they saw, and they were like, "Oh wow, the Marx Brothers are really funny," and that I understand. I had that reaction to Coconuts, but I do think Coconuts is the better movie. I do think there's actually a plot in Coconuts, and while there is a plot little p in this movie, like there's a plot to replace a painting, there's not like a big overarching plot that makes this movie feel like a movie. It feels like a 20-minute sketch comedy that got dragged out into an hour and a half.
Yeah. No, I think I agree. So yeah, I feel a little bad, that Mark comments and lets us know on Discord that how much he's looking forward to this because this was such a big part of his childhood, and I'm like, and now we've just kind of trashed it, and I feel bad. But
well, let's be fair though. If we were able to review Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail, like that movie, technically, cinematography, acting wise, it's just trash. It's not any good, but it is hilarious. And so,
yep.
There are definitely people in the world that do not think that it's funny at all. And, maybe we're this version or that version of this movie people is, I think too, just like so many other movies, if you grew up with Goonies, if you grew up with The Breakfast Club, if you grew up watching Masters of the Universe, man, those movies are great. I'll tell you what, man, The Beastmaster, to this day, one of the best movies ever. It's really not, but I love it.
Nope.
And if you grew up watching this movie and there are certain jokes that when they hit that beat, you laugh every time, I can totally understand that. From a craft perspective, I don't think this is a great movie. There's a lot of talking into the camera. Part of that is the byproduct of these being vaudevillian actors that are used to facing an audience. I understand that. It doesn't ruin everything for me, but it does detract from it. And so, I think there are people out there that love this movie, and there's an amount of that that's nostalgia. There's an amount of that is just being a fanboy or a fangirl for the Marx Brothers, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there are people that, like you said, are going to argue for the historical value of this particular film, and all of those are right. But as a person just watching it for the first time this year and having seen Coconuts already and not having grown up with it, and unfortunately having 13 years of film critique and some film education under my belt, I can't give it a very high rating. That doesn't detract from the value of it. It just means, you know what? For me, it's 2 Othels. And I should work for the United Nations with that speech because I just made everybody agree. No, not really. And it's okay to disagree with us. We love hearing from you guys whether you agree or not.
No, absolutely. No, believe me, it's not the first time that the greatest film ever fell flat for me.
And you and I have very different reactions to movies sometimes. And that's part of what makes it fun, is being able to talk about a movie and one person just be convinced that it's the best movie ever, and the other person say, I couldn't stand this and I would never want to see it again. And that's what makes it fun to talk about. That's why we keep doing this, because it's fun to talk about it and to think about different people's reactions to the same movie. That if everybody responded the same way to every movie, it wouldn't be worth talking about, because it would just be a de facto response. So, this podcast is made possible by the fact that people disagree about movies, and that's kind of what makes them fun to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well then that will do it for this episode. Not as a rip-roaring start to the year as I was hoping, but it's definitely an interesting one anyway.
Maybe this is the year that we get all the negative comments and like the hate comments that bring in all the listeners. No, I'm good without that too, but we'll see. It'll be really fun to see what we watch next, and maybe we get to the next Marx Brothers movie next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely looking forward to trying to go further in their filmography and see what we think. All right, well, if you have any thoughts on this film, Mark, please feel free to go ahead and leave any comments on the social media or send us an email, orphanedentertainment@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your take on this one. That's going to do it. Lydia, thanks very much, as always.
Yeah, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to watch and then to revisit in a thoughtful and critical, in the non-negative sense way. It's always fun to go back and go, what would I have done differently or the same?
We'll talk to everyone next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Now I'm going to be super self-conscious every time I laugh. Like, I didn't really think about it before, but now I'm just like, oh, God. I already thought maybe I laughed too much in this podcast, but...
Not at all. Not at all.